This is the story about Paco and Robert learning lessons from Jesus.
I'm Paco.
I'm Robert.
This is the gospel according to us. This is the gospel according to us.
This is the gospel according
To us. Hello, Robert. What are you up to?
Ah, Paco, just the pig. Would you like to join me in my new venture?
A new venture? How intriguing, Robert. What are you planning to do?
I'm going to become a professional fisherman. Fisher sheep?
Let's stick to fishermen. But why the sudden interest in fishing, Robert? I don't recall you ever doing it before.
Well, that's because they don't make waders in my size. I'm talking about the real thing, Paco, with a boat and nets and everything.
Ah, the real thing. But I repeat, why the sudden interest?
No need to repeat yourself, Paco. Groundhog Day was last Wednesday, for heaven's sake. Just be quiet and let me tell you.
But I'm not the one who... Never mind. Go on, Robert.
Well, we are followers of Jesus, correct? Correct?
Correct.
And James, John, and Simon Peter were followers of Jesus too, correct?
Well, they became...
Just answer the question, please.
Yes, James, John, and Simon Peter were followers of Jesus.
And what did Jesus do for those fellows?
Lots of things.
Well, yes, but this is a fish story.
Oh, he told them to let out their nets on the other side of the boat.
Precisely. And then?
Well, then the nets were so full of fish that they started to break, and the boat started to sink.
Spot on, Paco. Of course, we'll be sure to buy stronger nets and a more seaworthy vessel.
You want to become a deep-sea fisherman?
A professional deep-sea fisherman. Dangerous catch and all that.
They catch crabs.
Well, I wasn't planning on using a rowboat, Paco. This is the real thing.
But, Robert, you've never so much as put on a pair of waders.
Professional deep-sea fishermen don't wear waders. They wear sou'westers. And anyhow, it won't matter that I'm somewhat lacking in experience, because I'm a follower of Jesus, and so is my first mate.
Now I understand. You want to become a deep-sea fisherman because you believe Jesus is going to fill your nets to bursting.
We'll make a fortune, Paco. You'll be able to buy that split-level sty you've been wanting, and the sows will surround you in flocks.
Droves.
I beg your pardon?
Pigs come in... Never mind, Robert. I think we need to discuss this.
What is there to discuss? You and I fish. Jesus makes us rich. End of story.
Well, actually, Simon Peter, James, and John didn't get rich.
Didn't they?
No. Don't you remember how the gospel passage ends?
Well, I do believe Peter told Jesus to go away. Something about being a sinful man.
Yes. Remember, those men had been fishing all night without catching anything. Then Jesus shows up and suggests they try something different.
And then, welcome to Easy Street.
No, Robert, there was no easy street. Simon Peter recognized a miracle when he saw one, and he realized that Jesus was a very special person. He suddenly understood that Jesus came from God, and he was afraid that he just wasn't good enough to even be in the same place as someone that holy. Anyhow, that wasn't quite the last thing that happened.
Well, they brought the boats to shore, and then Jesus said something about fishing for people, which, frankly, makes no sense to me.
It's very simple, Robert. Jesus wanted the men to understand that they had a job to do, and it had nothing to do with catching fish. It was all about helping Jesus to establish the kingdom of God on earth. And fishing for people meant telling others about Jesus so they could see for themselves how their lives could change if they decided to follow him.
And James, John and Simon Peter did decide to follow Jesus.
They certainly did, my friend. In fact, Simon Peter, James and John were the very first followers of Jesus, his first disciples.
And they had a nice little nest egg to get them started once they sold all those fish, hadn't they?
I'm afraid not, Robert. The Gospel tells us that they left everything and followed Jesus. Their boats, their fellow fishermen, their nets.
Don't tell me they left all those fish behind.
All the fish they'd caught.
I told you not to tell me.
I'm sorry, Robert, but it's not a lesson about getting rich. It's a lesson about doing God's work and not allowing ourselves to be distracted by worldly things.
Like money.
I'm afraid so, Robert. But it was a nice thought. Sailing the ocean waves, feeling the sea breeze in our bristles.
Or wool. Yes, Paco, it would have been wonderful. Thinking about it, though, there might have been just one tiny problem.
What's that?
Well, I do tend to suffer from seasickness.